If Russia were to declare war on NATO in the near future, based on current analyses from sources like Danish Intelligence and CSIS reports, the scenario could unfold in a way that nearly sparks World War III. Imagine a Russian missile brigade loitering just 50 kilometers from the Latvian border, suddenly launching hypersonics toward the Baltic states, a move that aligns with Russia's ongoing buildup and hybrid tactics observed in Ukraine. Unknown to the Russians, NATO's Supreme Allied Commander would likely activate Article 5 immediately, mobilizing the alliance to intercept and counter. But Moscow would quickly learn why declaring war on NATO is a spectacularly stupid idea, as projections show Russia's forces being outmatched in every domain. The USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group, currently capable of patrolling the Baltic Sea as part of NATO exercises, would represent the kind of force doing what NATO does best, safeguarding Europe's eastern flank. This allows Russian oligarchs to continue exporting oil without major disruptions. But in a conflict, they'd be positioned about 120 nautical miles from Kaliningrad in international waters, where trillions in trade flow. The mission would shift from routine deterrence, predictable patrols, and transparent intentions to full defensive posture, highlighting the professional conduct that separates a united alliance from a desperate autocracy. Target classification would be swift. AWACS operators could positively identify Iskander-M missiles streaking at Mach 5, assessing the threat as high to catastrophic based on real-world missile performance data. Inside a shape-like operations room, the tactical action officer would watch Russian vectors with the calm derived from 32 nations' combined firepower, loaded with precision-guided munitions sufficient to turn any Russian advance into a scrapyard. The E3 Sentry radar, the world's most advanced airborne sensor, would paint a crystal-clear picture, allowing operators to count details on incoming threats. At launch speeds seen in recent tests, impacts on Riga could occur in just 4 minutes. The math is simple but terrifying for Russia. Their Kinjal hypersonics might cover distances in under 2 minutes, but NATO's Patriot PAC-3 batteries, deployed in the Baltics, could swat them like mosquitoes at 100-kilometer range, as demonstrated in simulations and Ukraine defenses. The commander would assess the probable intent of a Russian assault. The answer seems obvious from current patterns. Trajectories could overrun Estonian border posts in 20 minutes, mirroring rapid incursions tested in exercises. Recommendations would call for full alert, but the response might embody pure NATO confidence, observing how far Russia pushes before humiliating itself. Even reaching targets safely would be doubtful, given the Baltic region's civilian traffic. Potentially 28 commercial vessels within 30 miles, including Finnish cargo ships with electronics or Polish LNG tankers worth $150 million. All depend on NATO's umbrella for peace, and a Russian success could turn Europe's energy lifeline into a war zone. But winning against NATO? Analyses show that's unlikely, as it hasn't happened in simulated war games. NATO's integrated air and missile defense system would automatically share threat data across allies from Norway to Turkey. The Ford, a 100,000-ton symbol of alliance, might carrying up to 75 F-35C Lightning IIs, could adjust flight ops with precision honed in joint drills. Destroyers like the HMS Queen Elizabeth or USS Arleigh Burke would shift to screen the carrier, making any Russian push a suicide run based on current naval capabilities. The tactical picture could escalate from concerning to dangerous quickly. An E-3 AWACS at 30,000 feet, offering a god's eye view over 400 miles, might detect aircraft scrambling from Kaliningrad base's signatures, matching Su-57 felons climbing hard eastward, though projections indicate they wouldn't stand a chance. Controllers would notice the hilarity. Su-57s laboring for altitude due to fuel limits from outdated avionics and sanctions-hit engines, as evidenced by limited operational numbers. Sonar arrays could add the final piece to Russia's puzzle, picking up a submerged contact 60 nautical miles out, like a noisy Type 636 Kilo class submarine. Any competent crew would be embarrassed, aligning with reports of Russian sub-vulnerabilities. The Russians wouldn't just be aggressive. Projections suggest they'd mount a multi-domain intimidation with gear reminiscent of Soviet scrap heaps. T-14 Armata tanks from the 2010s, Su-57 fighters unable to carry full loads. Submarines so loud they might as well broadcast on AM radio. It's textbook bullying, effective only against weak targets. But unfortunately for Moscow, challenging NATO in Europe would backfire, as the alliance has honed collective defense since 1949. NATO forces could erupt into action, with a carrier like the Ford's flight deck turning to controlled chaos mastered through joint operations. F-35s from squadrons like the RAF's 617 could rocket off at 30-second intervals, a precision symphony Russian ski jump carriers envy. Steam billowing from catapults as air power projects dominance. First waves of F-35s climbing through 20,000 feet. Their AN/APG-81A ESA radars painting incoming Su-57s at max range. The mismatch seems unfair. A PG-81 modules tracking dozens simultaneously, while Su-57 arrays sweep like lighthouses. Su-57s gasping for altitude highlight Russia's woes. Barely 20 operational jets versus NATO's 500-plus F-35s. They'd burn fuel inefficiently, while NATO launches at full load with ample reserves. The edge goes beyond visuals. F-35s link via MADL for real-time intel sharing. Russians, reliant on voice comms, would fight blindfolded against a swarm. The tech gap spans decades. EA-18G Growlers could join, jamming with NGJ pods from 150 miles, fracturing comms and multiplying ghosts on Russian scopes. NATO's wall formation high, medium, low caps offers overlapping zones, while Russians bunch up vulnerably. Intel from an RC-135 rivet joint, circling and cataloging emissions, might catch pilots requesting clearance for intercepts escalating, but bureaucratic, comical, to NATO's initiative-driven aces. Ground defenses in Tallinn could track threats. Radars spotting tiny objects at 200 miles, making tanks easy targets. A Russian battalion crossing lines might trigger retaliation, with S-400 locks like pointing a rifle. NATO's discipline holds, but systems like THAAD and Aegis pack enough to devastate fleets' SM-6s at 240 miles, ready to create reefs. The lock might last briefly for bravado. NATO documents everything for future use. Air heats up. A Su-57 thump met by a Top Gun roll, yielding a perfect shot held back by discipline. Escalation peaks with a sub snorkeling noisily, tracked by SOSUS exposing incompetence. Russians boxed in, surviving minutes at best. The alliance could launch 120 aircraft from bases in Poland, Germany, carriers F-35s, Growlers, E-3s darkening skies. Jamming fries screens, a Virginia-class SSN surfaces near a cruiser for psychological impact, owning undersea. In air, NATO shreds low-fuel Su-57s. On ground, multinational forces outgun T-90 with Leopards, Abrams, HIMARS NATO's 11,000-plus tanks versus Russia's depleted 5,000. Nuclear risks loom. Russian doctrine threatens tactical nukes if losing, but NATO's triad dominates escalation. A nuke triggers proportional response, ruining cities like St. Petersburg without full exchange. Putin might blink, recalling forces to avoid annihilation. Moscow ruined in weeks conventionally. Russian formations would withdraw, claiming exercises complete. But truth, a lesson in why Europe is NATO's domain. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this what-if analysis based on current events, hit like, subscribe, and comment. What do you think could happen in a Russia-NATO clash? Stay informed, stay vigilant,